Like, you just let me know.
I will. When I get brave again. Do I have a card back?
He wants to verify
Apparently they didn't have to tell us it was okay.
Good evening. I would like to announce that a quorum is present. I'd like to first of all call the meeting to order, our special meeting. We have a quorum. I'd like to note that Mr. Knapp and Mr. Ferguson are not present. Oh, Mr. Ferguson, so Mr. Knapp is the only person not present. It has been posted, the meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act. The time is 6:02. The first item of business is to conduct a public hearing on the 2010 Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, better known as the FIRST. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Dr. Burnett.
Thank you, Ms. Gregg. We have annually, we have to post our first report on the internet, and we also have to host a public hearing for anyone to address the board about this. It has been posted. We have some extra copies if anyone would like those. We have, as we've had in the past, we have received a superior rating. We have all indicators. We've met all indicators except one. The one indicator that we did not meet was the one, the required interest earnings on a per student basis because of the market rates that we've been getting on our investments. We feel like that we're probably one of several hundred Texas school districts that are in that same boat. So anyway, we have, ever since the system's been in place since 2004, I believe, Lewisville ISD has received the highest award, the highest level possible. So at this time, this is when any community members who want to comment on our first report can do so.
At this time, are there any members, community members who would like to comment on the first report or have questions? Is that it? Hearing none, board members, do you have any questions? Hearing none, the hearing is closed. The next item on the agenda, public hearing, 2011-2012 budget and proposed tax rate. Again, Dr. Burnett.
Thank you, Ms. Gregg. Again, we have a.
Can I just, we need to just note that this is a public hearing on that.
Thank you.
We're required to, before we adopt the budget every year, to have a public hearing on the budget. The budget's been posted on the internet, on the LISD website, and it is basically unchanged from what you saw 4 weeks ago. We're happy to announce that we not only were able to hold the tax rate at last year's rate, we were actually able to reduce it by 0.07 of a cent. Not much, but that's a little bit, and so the tax rate actually goes down. And so this is time for us to hear any public comments that anyone may have.
Is there anyone present who would like to speak during this public hearing on the 2011-2012 budget?
I've got a couple of questions on my mind. When we had the preliminary hearing about a month ago,
we talked about lowering the rate up to 1.4 cents. That we'll have three options. One is to maintain the rate, one was somewhere in between that, and I think the third option was actually lowering 1.4 cents for this 1 year only. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We've chosen not to go the route of dropping it for a year. Is that correct?
That's, what we have done is brought you a recommendation of where we think we need to be. It's certainly the board's option to adopt whatever tax rate you feel.
Yes, sir, I understand that, but I thought that we were going to be able to put together next year's budget and be in good stead and still drop it 1.4 cents for a year. I thought that was part of the discussion.
The tax rate that you're looking at, the real variable in there is the debt service rate. The voters were told that, as I understand the voter education material that you contributed to the 2008 bond election, was that this year's debt service tax rate would be 39.76 cents. Now, last year's was 38.67. We're just simply saying you can hold that. We had a slight increase in the values for the district, so we're saying you can hold it flat and actually drop it a little bit. If you want to drop it more, that's certainly an option. What you drop it, if you drop it more, it's just a matter of how much you pull out of your debt service fund balance.
Maybe I'm confusing. I thought that there's something that's going to be brought back to the board at this point. So we're just.
I think when we listened to the discussion last time, we said that's a possibility. Dr. Grant said that you'd have to pull some money out of the debt service fund balances there, and there's money to do that. But we noted that if you did that, you have to raise the tax rate again next year. And I think our sense in the discussion was there was a concern about dropping it and then having to explain why you're going back up the second year. It's not, you'd be using fund balance to do it. It's not that the values are such that you can drop it down to that level. The values, we're setting the tax rate at the level, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Grant, at the level that can pay the debt service at with what the values are.
Okay.
So in essence, we're keeping it close to flat, a slight drop based on what the values are. To lower it, we just have to use fund balance money to do it, and then you'd have to probably go back up again next year. So our take out of the meeting last time was, listening to the discussion with the board, was there wasn't a lot of enthusiasm to drop the rate this year and then have to next year go back up, and that would probably be confusing for people to go, wouldn't remember why the tax rate was dropped. So, with that, we decided to keep it flat. But as Dr. Grant said, I mean, it's your pleasure to set it at the rate that you want, but that was the take we had coming out of the meeting.
If you look on page 8 of your budget document, you'll see that the proposed rate, even dropping slightly, still anticipates using $1.4 million from your reserve fund. Your reserve fund for your debt service, not your general.
Okay. We can move on. Another question, on the disclaimer that we're putting out, it reads that the tax rate adopted increases taxes for LISD taxpayers. We're not raising the tax on what we charged last year.
You're actually going to be collecting more dollars at
Okay.
this tax rate than we collected, just the tax rate, the fiscal ISD portion. You're actually collecting more dollars than what the district collected in 2010, 2011. And that's the reason behind the disclaimer. But we think that the statement saying that it raises taxes is very misleading.
Okay, but it says that the tax rate adopted increases taxes. Okay, so, okay.
You will actually be increasing the total dollars collected with this tax rate based on our values. And that ignores the fact that we still lost $20 million in state funds. And we had to cut the budget, and we still have a deficit budget.
It also, the system that we've been working under for the last 6 years has not changed. It's just the state didn't fund the system this year.
Right.
So that's where our loss of 22 million came from. But if the state did not cut the budget below the funding levels that the law requires, they're not, I want to emphasize that. The state is not funding us to the level the law requires them to fund us. Had they not done that, what you're talking about here, I'm glad you noticed it. The LISD portion of paying for the budget is flat. Since 2006, we did not raise any additional revenue except for new students we have coming into the district. So with the tax rate multiplying by the appraised value, going up slightly, that's where they're getting at. We're going to raise more money. Under the system, that means the state portion of that would decline proportionately, so we would not get the revenue remain flat overall. However, this year, they're also didn't fund the system, so they're cutting us another 22 million. So there's an irony there. Revenues cannot go up for us unless we have more kids, and then we only get just enough to educate those kids. That's it. So it's still neutral. But when we have as property wealthy school districts like Lewisville, when their tax values, their tax value goes up, what they're collecting goes up. So you have to report it as collecting more tax, getting a tax increase. It's just the way the state and their truth in taxation language is kind of.
The language that's in the ordinance is required by Texas statute. It's not discretionary on our part.
It's
We
not a
raise-
rate increase.
No, it's not.
It's not, no, it's actually a rate decline at the present value, but because more dollars are collected by LISD, we have to say that it's an increase in taxes, even though that's misleading because we have to recoup the 22 million that we lost in state revenues.
It's very confusing for.
So it's legal wording for an increase in tax dollars,
That's
Right.
right.
not tax rate.
That's correct. It's really just comparing how many dollars you raised last year with how many dollars the tax rate applied to your taxable value will raise this year.
But we didn't want our people to be confused and thinking that we're, then think, well, they got more money this year. So that's why we put that suggested disclaimer in there to note that, okay, we're doing what the state requires us to do, but actually we're getting 22 million fewer dollars from the state. I mean, overall, than we would have otherwise.
If the value on a piece of property that's owned by LISD taxpayer does not change, doesn't increase or decrease, then the rate, the amount of taxes that they pay at this rate will be less than what they paid at 10 11.
Anything else?
I have one more question, I apologize. We're projecting an $18 million deficit. At the end of every fiscal year, there's always monies that haven't been spent in people's budgets that they go back. There's all these monies that come back. Realistically, are we believing that we'll end up break even at the end of the year? Or what historically, where should we be at the end of the year?
Well, I thought about that yesterday when I was reading the paper and watching the track of the storm. I said they had this projected track of the storm, and they thought it would go within that area. And then, the only thing they knew for sure is where it had been. And that's the way we are. We think it's going to be somewhere within that range, and that we'll be able to return some money, but we don't know that yet, and we really won't know that until we get closer to July and August. A lot of things can change. The price of oil will affect our utilities. they're in a lot of moving parts that we'll have a better picture, come next spring. But yeah, we hope that we don't have to come to you with a budget amendment asking for you to spend more money out of the reserve fund. We hope that we're able to decrease that deficit.
Well, in our initial meeting, Dr. Burrett, we talked about how, throughout the course of the year, you have teachers and different employees that leave the district for whatever reason, and that's a cost savings, and there's little things, throughout the year, and the 17 is kind of a worst case scenario, but we hope to close that gap as the year goes across. Did I understand you right?
We're going to be every bit as enthusiastic about trying to preserve the resources as we were this past year. And we had a lot of success this past year because of some unforeseen circumstances.
I believe we've always been on the very conservative side. And that's the best thing for us to do, considering we're not even sure sometimes whether the state's even going to fund us. We always have to have that because we have to have school. We have to pay our teachers, we have to pay our bills. We're not allowed to run the red lights. Some other government entities are allowed to. So I think that, yes, we do sometimes have, we give the worst case scenario to the board and to the public, but that's because we want to be prepared, because some of our administrators have lived through, and they really want to be prepared if that happens again.
I agree, and in the past, we have always, like you said, we have been ultra conservative. And that really speaks volumes to where we are today. And in addition to the first rating, our fast rating has always been good also, because that is the one that determines how much we spend per kid and all of that. But we don't spend a whole lot of money like some of the others. We're fiscally responsible. So I think that is why we're in the shape that we're in today. So, Aaron, anything else? Nothing else? Nothing further?
Well, I'm sorry, I have a couple of
Actually,
questions.
we're still in the public, you have to close the public hearing portion, so you really have board discussion, which I think.
I asked if public had any other,
We should close.
You need to close the
I
public
think
hearing,
a
just,
motion on the,
okay.
that's all you
For the debate, we should motion.
Are there any other, anyone from the public who would like to address, to speak on this? If not, the hearing is closed, that portion, and then, thought we did that before we asked them.
No, we didn't.
Okay, sorry about that, but thank you.
Okay, now we need to move on.
Okay, now we have
I'll
this.
move, Mr. Craig, I'll move to the board adopt the tax rate of 0.36 per hundred for the non-taxes and services districts.
Mr. Ferguson has moved that the board adopt the tax rate. And, yes, Quanah,
You really need to take the budget first before we get into the tax rate.
and I'm sorry, the general operating budget in child nutrition, that's the one we're considering right now. That's what we need to do.
Yes, ma'am. You need to adopt the budget first.
Okay. Okay, so the tax rate was listed, so let's
yeah,
just
so
do
we
this.
need a motion to adopt.
Adopt the
the,
general operating budget,
child
child nutrition, and, yes, let's do that. So just read that way.
Okay, I move that we table the motion where it's on, well, actually, you never recommend the statement.
No, we
So it's
didn't.
on the table. Okay, so I move that we approve the 2011-2012 general operating budget, child nutrition budget, and debt service budget.
A second. Ms. Latham, it's been moved and seconded that we consider the approval of the 2011-2012 general operating budget, child nutrition budget, and debt service budget. Ready for discussion? I think we've heard it.
Okay.
Ed,
Just like that question.
another question?
Moving to food service right now, and I'm on page 28 of my report, that's out of 29. But it looks like we're spending less on food supplies with more kids than we did last year. Looks like that. Looks like speak down, I don't see how we can add kids and go down on our food costs and food prices are up.
Well, at one time, we were supplementing the, and then each year they were going to take on more of the responsibility. I don't know if that's not,
Under,
It says food service fund. Go down to expenditures in the middle of the page. And in that third line of supplies and materials,
the adopted budget for 2010-11 was $8,899,000. The proposed is $8,998,000, almost $100,000 increase in supplies and materials in food service.
that could be $100,000 less, wouldn't it? Because last year it was $9,012,000.
Well, that was the audited of 2009-10,
Okay.
and it actually decreased by a little over 100,000 in 10-11, and we're increasing it over 10-11 for 11-12. The proposed increase
Okay.
is almost $9 million.
One of the questions that I had, Dr. Burnett, is we get asked a lot in the public, what are the budget cuts? Could you highlight those big categories?
Let me ask Teresa to speak to that, some of those cuts. Some of the cuts, off the top of my head, some of the cuts are, we've had some costs that are not recurring, such as the retirement incentive and vacation pay. Those cuts are not recurring. We've also, of course, you know about the 15% reduction in central administration costs. Those costs are significant. We've had some reduction in staff across the board through attrition in every area. So
did I also hear that you had counseling in some places where they have full counselor, they now have counselor and a half or something too? So those are some of the staff cuts?
we've had some staffing.
Okay.
Some
So
of our
those
staffing
would be
guidelines
some
have
of
been
those cuts
adjusted
too.
as well.
We're reducing positions by about 170. Dr. Burnett did speak about some of the reductions already, in addition to another item in the payroll budget is we're not going to contribute to the workers' comp fund for next year, and that alone is saving $1.6 million. In addition to that, we had over $800,000 reduction in the custodial contract.
In what?
The custodial contract. We are moving about $800,000 of utilities over to a food service budget. We had additional reductions in the facilities area that total only $600,000. Technology cut over $100,000. We did reduce employee travel by $300,000. JJAP expenditures are going down by over $200,000. And then just some more miscellaneous type things. Those are the major reductions.
So there's no major program cuts.
No.
No. Most of the monies was achieved through staffing reductions, and that's always going to have to be the case. You know, so much of our, percentage of our budget is
Is
staff.
that-
But you know how
Yeah.
rumors.
Well, the increase in class size too, that how
That's a
much?
personnel issue.
Well, I mean, but how much of that, does that play a big part?
Well,
The increase in the class size?
Well, I mean, it depends, I mean, yeah, most of our class sizes have increased. Elementary, we are looking at, most classes are 22 to 1, and fourth grade and lower, and that really has reduced another 20-something positions over the summer by looking at increasing those class sizes. But we've reduced over 100, maybe closer to 120 staff positions from last year to this year.
Our budget's made up of about 85% of payroll. So out of every $100 you spend, you've got to get $85 in personnel cuts or personnel reductions if you're going to make a difference in the budget. That's just the math of it. So, and next year, you know, we'll be sitting here and the district is hopefully a lot sooner than August, but we'll be looking at trying to balance, we'll be looking at a deficit that'll be closer to 25 million. because of the reduction in state dollars that we anticipate for next year. So that we'll go through this same drill all over.
I appreciate the conservative budget and your foresight and all, because we were very fortunate. We always had that superior rating, and we take pride in that, so we appreciate all that you're doing. Hearing any other discussion?
I've got two more questions. Are there any opportunities, and I know you guys are on top of it, of lowering the interest rates on any of the bonds anytime soon?
We did a refunding in April. There will be some refunding opportunities down the road. We've got some refunding right now, but the savings is compared to what it will cost to do the refunding is just about a balance. So we won't wait until, we've got a target in mind. If we can't save about $250,000 a year in the bond refunding, we're not sure it's worth going forward with it, given the cost of doing the refunding. The fees and all those kinds of things.
Dr. Burnett, if you go to page 30 of it, where it's general fund revenue by object, and it's local revenue, 5739. What is tuition and fees, local sources? It's $3,670,000.
I think that's primarily revenue from our extended school day program.
It's extended day school, I asked this question last year, I know the answer. Extended day, and it's driver's ed and adult ed, thank you.
Let's see it.
Are we ready for the question? Are we ready for the question? Okay. All in favor of consider the approval of the 2011-2012 general operating budget, child nutrition budget, and the debt service, let it be known by show of hands. That's unanimous. And all of the opposed on that unanimous, so don't need it.
Right.
Okay. Next, we will consider the approval of the maintenance and operation tax rate and the 2011-2012 interest and sinking debt service tax rate.
So we need a motion
Need
about
a
that.
motion?
Okay.
For debt service and
Right.
I move that the board adopt tax rate 0.386. For the amount of tax to the service district's debt. That's one more.
and I think,
You have the other one?
And I move that the board adopt tax rate of $12 for $100 of value of the loan's taxes used to fund the maintenance and operations expenditures.
Right.
second,
A second?
second.
It's been moved by Mr. Ferguson, second by Mr. McDaniel. Ready for discussion? Discussion?
Dr. Burnett, can you tell us what a penny gives us on the high side right now? I don't know if we'll talk about it.
In round numbers, about 2.2 million.
So that's what it costs to lower it.
Lower it to
Lower the
penny.
penny cost.
You'd be getting 2.2 million out of your reserve fund.
And when we look at, obviously, the statutory language says we're raising more money, I'm assuming that's coming from the INS side, because $1 for those sides, we're going to be re-equalized by the states.
Well, actually, that's really where the rub comes in, because as we raise more money locally, the state would have dropped anyway, and it's compounded because of what the legislature did. So, it's the Robin Hood effect, if you will, because the state benefits as local values go up. So you raise more money in local taxes, so the state's responsibility is less.
Maybe we're raising more money, but not necessarily being.
We're better not being held
All
harmless.
right, so when we look at it, are we actually going to spend less money this year than we did last year?
Yes.
So that's something our taxpayers should know. We're actually cutting our expenditures, we're collecting taxes for the state, basically, and we have to confess that we're raising more tax than we did last year, but we're not, we're just shipping it off to the state.
In total dollars, The adopted budget last year was 409 million and change. The budget that we've adopted tonight is 391 million. It's basically $18 million less.
That's awful.
That is about 4%.
And that is total dollars.
That's great.
That is phenomenal.
And that is a pure function of the state's reduction in LISD.
Anyone else?
But we will collect more tax dollars. We will obviously do it kind of high on this side because that's not subject to your tax rate.
Right, that's right.
We can, for that reason, we're able to keep the tax rate even a little bit lower rather than going up to what we advertise in the bond.
We benefited because we weren't anticipating a slight growth in the tax base. We really thought they were going to stay flat.
Anyone else? Carol? Did you have, nothing further? If there's nothing further, ready to vote? All in favor? Let it be known by show of hands. It is unanimous. Okay, now we
We need
have the ordinance, approval of the ordinance. Do we need to do that? That's just a combination of the two, but that's part of it. So we're okay? The legalism, should we approve it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I move the tax rate of $1.426 per $100 evaluation be adopted by the district, and that the ordinance setting the tax rate be passed, adopted, and ordained by the Lewisville Independent School District Board of Trustees.
It's been moved by Ms. Latham, second by Mr. Ferguson, that we approve the ordinance.
I have to clarify the question.
Yes.
And when you approve the ordinance, are you also instructing us to publish the disclaimer?
I assume so, yes.
Amend that to add the disclaimer.
Yes, I do amend my motion, Ms. Gregg, in addition to the ordinance that we add the disclaimer by the district. But they've written down where we are receiving in between 2 million less from the state of Texas.
Okay, let's vote on the amendment. Second, okay. Let's vote on the amendment first. All in favor?
Sorry, I had a question.
Question? Okay, discussion?
I'm trying to remember what I'm not, I don't want to be moving from you.
The disclaimer.
It's the disclaimer. It has the word underfunded in there. As Dr. Bell said, the state's not actually funding the target one.
They're not funding the system, and that's required by statute. They just didn't provide the rate. You want to read that, Dr. Fernandez?
Would you mind reading it? Okay.
Disclaimer about the 2011 tax rate. The above ordinance adopted by the Lewisville ISD Board of Trustees regarding the adoption of the 2011 tax rate contains language that is required by Texas law stating that the tax rate adopted increases taxes for LISD taxpayers. This statement is misleading and ignores the reality of the Texas school finance system that was underfunded by the Texas legislature this past spring. Lewisville ISD taxpayers will pay a larger portion of the funds necessary to provide for our children's education, while the state has cut millions of dollars in funds to LISD. Please note that the LISD general operating budget adopted for the 11-12 school year anticipates a reduction of over $20 million in state funds. LISD has reduced both staff and operating expenses and still expects to spend about $17 million from reserve funds for 2011-12. The reduction in state funds is expected to be even greater next year, causing LISD to reduce expenses even more.
Thank you.
So by statute, they're supposed to be funding at a level that they're not.
Yes, sir.
Right. So is that in essence an IOU us for later on down the road?
over it.
I don't think it's an IOU.
So they changed the law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else? If nothing further, we'll vote on the amendment first. All in favor of the amendment disclaimer? It's unanimous. Now we're back to the main motion. Any further discussion before we?
No, I don't think we have to do that because we added, I amended my
We
original.
still should call the.
You have to
on
vote on the main
motion.
motion.
You have to vote on the main
Yeah,
motion.
we just approved it.
Okay. All in favor of the main motion of approving the ordinance? Unanimous. Okay. workshop. And for this, we're going